Pressmax TV. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we're going to discuss the transgender debate. So as you can see here, as some of you may know, Elliott Page is a 33-year-old actress who was nominated for an Oscar for her role in the film Juno. She has also starred in 2 X-Men films and the Netflix series The Umbrella Academy. So Ellen came out recently, I think yesterday, the 2nd, or potentially the 1st of December, and she has decided she is now a man. So she's changed her name from Ellen Page to Elliott Page, and she has said her pronouns are now he, him, they, and them. And as we can see, the major tech giants and the mainstream media have very quickly jumped to her support, to her defense against critics. And as we can see, typing in Ellen Page here produces multiple results referring to Elliott Page. So we're not sure if she's had any treatment. We're not sure if she's undergone any surgery. Not that surgery or treatment can ever change one gender to another, or one sex to another, can ever change a male to a female, or vice versa. But we don't know. As far as I'm concerned and as far as I am aware, she was a woman, a perfectly normal, functioning woman, and she has decided she is a man, and we are now supposed to all treat her as such. So you can see here, Google has jumped on the bandwagon, Elliott Page. There is a reference to Ellen Page on Wikipedia, which was comforting to me, that there isn't so much groupthink and so much speed of implementation that would mean that overnight Ellen ceases to exist digitally and socially and is now replaced by Elliott. However, if we go to the Wikipedia page, we can see that this Ellen Page Wikipedia is directed to Elliott Page. So Ellen Page Wikipedia page no longer exists. Now, Ellen actually came out as a lesbian in 2014. So I don't know if lesbianism is kind of a stopover for transgenderism these days, but being a female lesbian, and she is married to a woman. She has had boyfriends in the past, as recently as 2014, I believe. But she is married to a woman, and now she's decided to be a transgender. But my issue is this. The transgender activists, and not the people who have gender dysmorphia or the people who really struggle with identity, but the activists, many of whom are white liberal women, men. There isn't a clear philosophy, there isn't a clear logic to how this all works. So you say, okay, you're a man trapped in a woman's body. What does that actually mean? What does it mean to be a man? If we are to believe the mainstream narratives around how toxic masculinity is, how toxic the patriarchy, quote unquote, is, feeling like a quote unquote traditional man, does that mean being a breadwinner? Does that mean being strong? Does it mean being aggressive? Does it mean having a deep voice, walking in a certain way, talking in a certain way, being dominant? If that's true, then surely that goes against everything the kind of woke left liberal brigade has been preaching for the last, 5, 10, 15 years, which is we're all equal. Anything he can do, she can do. Any opportunity afforded to a man should be afforded to a woman, which I do believe, and which is the case currently. Discrimination against gender is illegal by law and has been for some time. And now more than ever, there's a lot of efforts to promote gender equality in the workplace and outside of the workplace. So To say I feel like a man, again, I don't know, I just can't understand that concept. I can't understand how would a woman, a female, born a female, how would a woman know what it means to feel like a man? And vice versa, how would a man know what it feels like to be a woman? Unless you're subscribing to traditional stereotypes, which are just completely false. I mean, a man can be strong, a man can be weak, a man can be stoic, a man can cry, a man can be a provider, a man can be a house husband, a man can be soft and caring, or can be a captain of the army, a brash, domineering. I mean, we are all free to behave and to do as we please within the confines of the law. So again, I can't understand this idea of I feel like I'm supposed to be a man. You can be a businesswoman, a strong woman. You can be anything you want to be. But I just can't understand. Anyway, in a landmark case. So we'll just go. So just a bit of background. There has been a case ongoing. We can see here the BBC has pulled this up. This woman you can see in the middle with the afro and the eyebrowing is Kira Bell. She was given puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, I believe under the age of 16. So she started her transition. She is a female, born a female, and she prevented her puberty with the puberty blockers, and she took cross-sex hormones, so testosterone and other hormones. And she now deeply regrets it at, I believe, 20. She's 23 now, and she deeply regrets it. She was referred to the Tavistock Centre, which is basically the centre where all of the children with gender dysmorphia, or the children seeking to get treatment, sex change treatments, procedures, etc. This is the centre, the Tavistock Centre is where they all go to get their sex changed. And she regrets her decision immensely. She wishes she had more education around the long-term impact of her decision at 16. She wishes she had more counselling and more discussion. And I think she feels it would have been very apparent that her issues would not have been solved and have not been solved by a sex change. And she basically regrets her decision profoundly. And she quite nobly has come forward to help other children in this position not make the same mistake she did. And so the judge has essentially ruled that children under 16 are unlikely to be able to give informed consent to puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, general gender changing surgery. And for those reasons, going forward, because of this brave woman who attempted to convert her gender, it will save thousands of children from going through the same issues that she has gone through. So, we commend Kira Bell. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of the woke left who are very upset with this ruling. They are, they're wanting 13 and 14-year-olds to have the right to go against their parents and actually have this gender change surgery, which is, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. You can have, you're not allowed to drink at 16. You're not allowed to drive at 16. You're not allowed to smoke. You're not allowed to, you're just about allowed to have sex. You're not allowed to gamble. You can't vote. You can't join the army. There's pretty much, nothing you can do. However, these left-wing liberal elites want to make you believe that it's okay to for a 14-year-old to change her, to know that she definitively for the rest of her life wants to be a man. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway, a bit of information here. So the number of children referred to the Tavistock and Portman Foundation Trust's Gender Identity Development Service, which is the other place. So you can go to Tavistock or Portman Foundation Trust's Gender Identity Development Service. So the number of children referred to these institutions through the NHS is up from 77 in 2009 to 2,590 in 2019. In 2017, The Guardian, a left-wing UK newspaper, reported that 70% of referrals to gender identity development services were female. So essentially 70% of people looking to do gender reassignment are females wanting to become male. Now look, I don't know the reasons for this, but I can kind of hazard a guess. In society, we're always droning on, especially in the mainstream media, about male privilege, and then in particular white male privilege. Males are blamed for all the ills of society, and women are held as a bastion of hope against the tyranny of male domination. Women are presented as a perpetual victim. And this is really being taught in our schools and to our children. The idea of toxic masculinity, the idea of maleness being wrong, testosterone-filled boys who want to run around and jump around as being somehow wild and uncontrollable, when this is actually their nature. So it doesn't surprise me that 70% of people looking to change their gender in the UK are actually women. Because if you've been told that men are more powerful, men are better, men have been oppressing you, men have it so easy, men have so much privilege, if you've been told this over and over and over again, then it stands to reason that you might think to yourself, you know what, maybe life would be better if I was actually a man. Okay? But then, ironically, you'd be the straight white male that you probably hate. And so there is a little bit of a conflict there. Anyway, let's see how fantastic it is to be a man. So, number one, women live on average longer than men across the world. I think it's an average of 5 years longer than men, but correct me if I'm wrong. 95% of all workplace deaths are male, because men do most of the dangerous jobs. Bin men, roofing, street sweeper, train driver, truck driver, pilot, any job that's outside, oil rig worker, in the elements, risking your life. Obviously, the army, we're not going to get into that. Women and children staying behind and men going out to fight for their country. So 95% of all workplace deaths are male. Over 80% of homeless people are male. Men, on average, work longer hours over their lifetime than women. In the US, men still have to sign up to the draft when they reach 18. Women do not. Currently, in 2020, women earn the majority of college degrees. Positive discrimination currently means it's easier for women to get jobs in lucrative fields. In many lucrative fields, I should say. Women receive 63% lighter sentences for the same crime and same criminal history. And look, I could go on. There's many, many ways in which funding for health services, for example, is more skewed towards female diseases than male diseases. For example, prostate cancer is actually much more common than breast cancer, but receives a fraction of the funding that breast cancer receives in the UK, for example, and I'm pretty sure that's the case around the world. So look, I'm not here to say that one has it easier than the other. Men and women both have their own struggles, but to pretend that men are living in this fantasy land of riches, cigar smoking, port drinking, wing-back armchair sitting, three-piece suit wearing, kind of luxury lifestyle. It's insane. Most men are hardworking men working overtime to provide for their families. That's most men. Most men have pride in being a provider, have pride in taking care of their family, and want to go out there and work and sacrifice to maintain a household, to maintain children, and to help their wife, who may also be working. But there's less social pressure for her to do so. A woman has more options. She can be a homemaker and looked upon by society as normal. She can go out and work and be a career woman and be praised by the feminists. She can do half and half, part-time. Those are the options afforded to women. And for men, traditionally speaking, a man as a house husband would be looked down upon by society. A man's role is a provider. It's as simple as that. Okay, in the transgender community, there are many contradictions, some of which we've touched on, but I just want to touch on a few more. The way they get around this is they say, okay, biological sex is different to your gender expression or your gender identity, and these are just words to just get around. It's just it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. Transgender activists have co-opted many professional associations for their cause. The American Psychological Association tells us transgender is an umbrella term for persons with gender identity, gender expression, or behavior that does not conform to that typically associated to the sex they were assigned at birth. So again, this is complete bollocks, excuse my French. They're saying, and I quote, gender expression or behavior that does not conform to the typically associated behavior or expression of the sex they were assigned at birth. So what is typical behavior? So if a girl wants to play with Action Man, or if a girl wants to climb trees, does she need gender reassignment surgery at age 6? Do we not have female athletes? Very successful female athletes in tennis and in track and field and football. Why would she need to be a man? Does that mean every single female football player should have gender reassignment surgery? This is complete bollocks, but this is the American Psychological Association. And the same organization states, a gender identity is a person's internal sense of being male, female, or something else. So, gender identity, according to the American Psychological Association, which apparently purports to be a respected publication, they're saying that essentially you can choose to be male, choose to be female, or something else. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And for the life of me, I can't think what the benefit is to society. I can't think what the benefit is to the individual. Because they must know they would never, ever be, no matter how many testosterone shots they take in the arse, no matter how much prosthetic plastic surgery they get on their genitalia, they must know deep down they're never going to be a man, ever. So this is all it's very, very frustrating. And what frustrates me more is, when we go back to Google and they just, the way everybody is like groupthink. It's like, Ellen Page no longer exists. This woman that you see here, there's a picture of her with Leonardo DiCaprio looking very feminine here. This woman is gone. She's only ever played female roles because she's a female. And now all of her past roles, it's almost like it was a different person. This person no longer exists. The only person that exists is Elliott, which is to me just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just insane. And children are watching this. That's why you have the rates of transgender requests in the NHS going from 77 in 2009 to 2,590 in 2019. It's very depressing. And finally, I'll end on this. Look, if people are allowed to change their gender, by the same logic, we should be allowed to change our height, our weight, our ethnicity, because birth race does not equate to racial identity or racial expression, to borrow terms from the American Psychological Association. So if I feel my racial expression is not coherent with my birth race, I can say, well, I'm Indian. It doesn't matter what I was born, I identify as an Indian. I can say I'm 6'9" and I want to play in the NBA. It doesn't matter the height that I am. What matters is my height expression or my height identity. Anyway, look, that's enough of that. It's giving me a headache just talking about it. But look, these things need to be discussed. Stay sharp. Thank you for watching. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, and share. And I'll see you again soon. Alright, thank you. Bye-bye.